Hey guys, it's the Drabble Geek here, and welcome back to Ace Attorney, where we are finishing, well, not finishing, we're starting the first trial section for Farewell My Turnabout, in which I have no clue what's going on, really. I just know that this movie star was murdered. The suspect is innocent, and we have to prove they're innocent within a day, or Maya gets killed by a creepy bellhop that kidnapped her. But because of some of the ending of the last section, I don't really know what's going on with Maya, because it seemed like maybe she partially escaped, or there's might be something else going on, especially since she channeled Mia, even though the last section was from Maya's point of view, which we were told in 2 sections ago. Didn't make sense with the whole channeling portion of it, at least. So let's continue on, I suppose. Adrian did it. That's what it looks like. I don't think she did it. I think it was our creepy old bellhop. Dude, no way. That woman couldn't do anything like that. In court today, there will be a mountain of evidence that will implicate you. A mountain of evidence? I'm certain there is someone out there trying very hard to pin this whole thing on you. Please, Mr. Lawyer, dude, like I said yesterday. I'm refreshing like a spring breeze, alright? You can't let any sort of scandal ruin that. I understand. Well, it's almost time. Mia, we must get a complete acquittal today. I know, but I can't focus on Maya's situation right now. Or Pearl's either. No matter what, I have to focus on winning this case by the end of the day. Indeed. Well, let's get going. Oh no. It's him. This is right. Good morning. This is it, Mr. Attorney. The day of the trial. Maya, she's unharmed, right? Well, when I checked on her earlier this morning, she seemed a bit, how shall we say, tired. Don't worry, people don't die that easily. Besides, what you really should be concentrating on is winning today's trial. For my sake, as well as yours, you must win today's trial. For my sake. Which is why I sent you a little present this morning. Present? What in the world would you want to give me? You'll figure it out once the trial starts. And even if you don't like my gift, I expect you to graciously accept it and win the day's contest, if you please. Wait. Contest and my sake. That's very interesting wording. The kidnapper sent me a present. Mr. Lawyer Dude, who is that? No one. It has nothing to do with you. Survey, you heard anything? Dude, did your nose just get longer? I think it did, in fact. Oh, no one's there. Court is now in session for the trial of Matt on guard. Are the prosecution and defense ready? The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution seems to be missing. I say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss Von Karma? I don't know, Your Honor. Why are you getting mad at me? Your Honor? Please be quiet, bailiff. Court is in session. If you must tell me something, please keep it brief. Now then, what is it? Prosecutor Von Karma has. This morning, Miss Von Karma was shot by an unknown gunman. What the heck? What? Shot? Somehow, I think this is the present that man was talking about. His present? Ms. Von Karma is one of the top prosecutors in the country at the moment. If she were to disappear, it would be to your advantage. This is totally insane. Miss Von Karma, is she alright? I don't have that answer. She's alive and in stable condition. That's good. Phew. I'm not gonna ask who said that. I thought he'd show up. Your Honor, due to the circumstances, Miss Francisca von Karma cannot appear in court today. I, Miles Edgeworth, will be taking her place. The prosecution is ready, naturally. But is he going to help us? I think he is. Miss von Karma was shot in her right shoulder and is currently undergoing surgery. Wasn't that the same shoulder her father was shot in? Luckily, I've looked this case over and am familiar with the details. The prosecution seeks to prove the guilt of Mr. Matt Ongard. The court acknowledges the prosecution, right? I finally found the answer I was struggling for on my long journey this past year. By the time this case comes to an end, you too will know the answer. Now then, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. Please bring Detective Gumshoe to the witness stand. Wasn't he taken off the case? Witness, your name and occupation. My name's Dick Gumshoe, sir. I'm a detective down at the precinct. For now. For now? After this trial is over, I'm supposed to turn in my badge, sir. Detective Gumshoe. The prosecution has no need for a depressed witness. Lift your head up and face forward like a proud officer, Detective Dick Gumshoe. Yes, sir. Now, let's have your testimony. We want to explore the various facets of this case. We must start with that. Get ready, Phoenix. This is going to be one very rough fight. Yeah, would have to be with Edgeworth as my opponent. The answer he was struggling for. Interesting. Show me this answer you finally found, Edgeworth. Bare facts of the case. This murder happened after the Hero of Heroes award ceremony, sir. The victim, Juan Cordia, was found dead in his hotel room. After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. Yeah, sure, whatever. I don't believe that. After the award ceremony ended, the victim was alone in his room? Yes, sir. Both the victim and defendant were alone in their rooms, sir. I see. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. I don't believe the guitar had nothing to do with anything. That's just weird. Would you please give us a brief timeline of what happened after the ceremony? Okay, pal. The ceremony started at 6 p.m. It ended around 8 p.m., and then there was a short break. A special post-ceremony show was supposed to start in the lobby 30 minutes later, so 8:30, 9:30. Wait, no, 6, 8, 8:30. I can't count. And that's when the victim's body was found, correct? Which is to say, the murder occurred during that 30-minute break period. Please continue with your testimony, Detective. Okay, so we have 30 minutes unaccounted for. The victim, Juan Cordia, was found dead in his hotel room. The person who discovered the victim's body was Adrian Andrews, correct? Yeah. Who is this Adrian Andrews you're talking about? She's the defendant, Matt Ongard's manager. She's a really pretty lady, sir. Ah, so she's a pretty lady. I wonder if she will grace us with her presence. When the post-ceremony show was about to start, she went to get Mr. Ongard. After visiting his room, she went to the victim's room to get him for the show, sir. That doesn't make sense. I see. And that's when she found the victim's body. Quite similar to how the victim found Impact's body. Unless they're trying to set up so, like, things are repeatedly occurring. Like that match up to, like, previous cases, I think. After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. The cause of death? Wasn't that because Mr. Kadada was stabbed in the chest? Only a careless amateur would believe something so brainless as that, pal. You mean what you told us? Take a good hard look at the crime photo. Now, a real pro's attention would be drawn here to this bandana. Bandana? His bandana, sir. That's the thing wrapped tightly around his neck. Ah, yes, I see. His banana-scented bandana. No, then what about the knife? It seems to have been stuck in the victim's chest on purpose after his death. We have a crafty murderer on our hands here. Cause of time of death was 8:15, strangled with a scarf, then stabbed with a knife. Interesting. At first we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. And why did you think that? Because it was empty, pal. The Jammin' Ninja doesn't go anywhere without his bright red guitar, and we couldn't find it anywhere at the scene of the crime. Oh, then how about this theory? A fan really wanted the guitar and did the crime to get it. How's that? We thought of that too, but... The only fingerprints in the guitar case were the victims. Only the victims, huh? I see. So much for my theory then. There's some water, only on the top. Bears Cordia's fingerprints. However, we later found out the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. I don't believe that. What convinced you it had nothing to do with the case? The guitar wasn't at the Gatewater Hotel that night. Maybe someone thought it was, though. Well then, where was it? The bright red guitar was eventually found at the TV studio. The victim, Juan Cordia, had apparently only taken the case with him, sir. So you mean he forgot to put the guitar inside the case? Yes, sir. Even when he was on stage for the ceremony, he didn't have his guitar. So that guitar case was empty even before he got to the hotel. Doesn't mean whoever wanted it knew it was empty. Yeah, that's right. So it really had nothing to do with the case after all. I believe that is enough. First, the victim was choked to death with his bandana. Then, after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest Matt Ungard? Because there was a reason enough to suspect him. Here it comes. Looks like Edgeworth's back in full swing. Very well, Detective Gumshoe, please testify about this matter. Yes, sir. Matt Ungard and Juan Cordia were huge rivals with each other. They each thought the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book. As for evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja's button. It was ripped off the ninja costume and was found in Mr. Ungard's hakama. The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant bought the knife for the crime scene. No, it was taken from his hotel room plate, which makes this a premeditated murder. No, it wasn't. Okay, so we got him in that. So the defendant's fingerprints were found on the knife used in the stabbing. It was sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clearly, sir. Yeah, Gatewater is engraved. You mean where the murder was? And there's this button. That was found in the defendant's clothes, was it? And this is the button also covered in blood? Yes, and we know that blood on it is the victim's blood, sir. What? But what about fingerprints? All this points very clearly to the defendant, doesn't it? Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Ready to give in yet, right? I'll find the hole in your argument somehow. You can press as hard as you'd like. Just hurry up with your usual pointless questions. I already found a hole in the story, but I'm still gonna press him no matter what. Let's see. I'm gonna save it as well here. They were huge rivals. But in terms of popularity, Mr. Ungard won, did he not? Yeah, but you know what's ironic, pal? Juan Cordia was always one step behind Mr. On Guard in everything. This year seemed like he finally caught up, ready for the big final showdown. But Mr. Cordia lost the Grand Prix in the end. That is too bad. He must have been pretty downhearted after losing. Exactly your loss of motive there. Wait just 1 second here. Mr. Ongart was beating Mr. Cordia in the popularity polls. Well, yeah, I guess, but... Which means that in the defendant's eyes, the victim was not a rival at all. Which means he had no motive to kill at all. Exactly. Yes, I quite agree. Well, detective? It's not, well... Guess if you put it that way, then yeah, the defendant wouldn't have no motive. Detective, I'm beginning to see why you're fired. No, not you too, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. I look forward to your pension negotiations. No, he can't retire. Oh my gosh. Now, detective, let's continue with the testimony. Sniffle. No, not my poor pension, too. Detective, if you value your money, I suggest you proceed. Yes, sir. We can talk about my pension later, sir. What about what I was saying? Hello, anyone? As for evidence, there's Jammin' Ninja's button. Do you have any proof that the button belonged to the victim? Huh? What do you mean, pal? Oh, let me put it this way. I'm asking you if you have any evidence that backs up your claim that this button was ripped off the Jammin' Ninja's costume. Huh? Can't you tell just by looking at it? And the victim's blood is on it. Anyone could have smeared that blood on there afterward. Mr. Edgeworth, help me, sir. Alright, I knew it had to be this piece of evidence. Now to reel this one in. Thread. Huh? The button was attached to the costume by thread, obviously. And when that thread snapped when the button was torn off. If you match up the ends of the thread on the costume with the thread on the button, it's a perfect match. Yeah, that's it. They're a perfect match, pal. Ugh. That's Edgeworth for you. Never misses a beat. It's going to be the knife. I already know that. When was this button found? Pretty soon after the body was found. We rounded up everyone who knew Mr. Corda. And then we did a search on them all. That's when we found the button. So it was almost immediately after the murder? Police didn't have the free time to lollygag and play tricks, unlike some people. Hey, what is he trying to say about me here? The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. How were the fingerprints arranged on the knife? Huh? What do you mean, pal? By examining the fingerprints, you can determine how the defendant held the knife. For example, did he hold it normally or overhand? Oh, is that what you meant? Well, we didn't actually think of that. I can't believe the bumbling of this department. Hopeless. Were you paying attention to the testimony, right? Defendant's fingerprints were all over the knife. There's no way to determine how the knife was held at the moment of the murder. So is the defendant the owner of this knife, then? The defendant bought the knife, which makes it a premeditated murder. Do I need to present that evidence or no? There is no way this was a premeditated... Bought the knife. Sorry, pal. Yeah. Well, before any battle, you must find your enemy's weakness. I already found it, I just didn't think I would have to present it. Let's present the knife. Wait a second. What? So the basis of your argument that this was a premeditated murder is simply that my client bought a knife beforehand? That's right, pal. The defendant did not buy this knife. Huh? Take a good look at the handle of this knife, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Huh? It has a Gatewater seal set into the handle. Gatewater? I think I've heard that name somewhere before. That's the name of the hotel. The Gatewater Hotel? Uh-oh. The murder knife was actually property of the hotel, which means this murder was not premeditated. Yes, that is very true. That is a very big Oh no. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. What? I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I admit this knife is hotel property. There is no one currently on the police force that is dumb enough not to realize this. But I did it oh. The question is, where did this knife come from? Why, that's obvious. It came from the victim, Mr. Corda's room. No, sorry, Your Honor, but that is incorrect. The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to what is on top of the table. There is a knife and fork on the table. Then, where in the world did this knife come from? If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Matt Ungard. Especially, what was on top of his table? There is something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife? Yeah, we already saw that, dude. Keep up. We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Matt Ungard's knife was missing. Ugh. Mr. Ungard had gone to the victim's room with the knife he had used during dinner. Why would he carry a knife to visit? To kill, of course. And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder. Except he wasn't killed with the knife. Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth. Absolutely brilliant. A brilliantly clear deduction. Seems like Edgeworth had planned this from the very beginning. This must be one of those traps, and I just walked headlong into it. A murder weapon with fingerprints and a button from the victim's costume. There's quite a sizable amount of evidence here. I can safely say that any further deliberation is a waste on Your Honor's time. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown? It means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence. What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright? Well, I'm about to save. Is he talking about, well, Phoenix? The judge is favoring the prosecution right now. If we answer with something wrong here, that gavel of his will be ringing out the sound of our defeat. Mr. Wright, do you have something important and necessary to present to this court? I think I do. There's one piece of evidence that catches my attention. Something this court has yet to see. Mr. Wright, I will say this one more time. Do not feel this trial needs to continue at all. However, I am giving you one chance, and only one. What the judge is saying, Wright, is don't try pulling one of your usual bluffs here. If I mess this up, it's curtains for all of us. You may now present one and only one piece of evidence. Oh my gosh. Now then, what is this important evidence that you must show the court? No signs of drink. I actually have no clue. I don't think I can do this. The button, the knife, since it's suicide report. I'm thinking this, but I'm not sure. Sorry, right, but this time your bluffing steered you wrong. Okay. That's enough. Yeah, I figured. Yeah. Lovely. Yeah. Let's see. What piece of evidence? I don't understand what they mean. That's the thing. Is he talking about the suicide report? Sorry, right? Oh my gosh. So the no. Okay. I guess I honestly don't know what he's trying to ask of me. Am I supposed to be doing this? I don't think so, but nope. Okay, I was right about that one. Is it the fact that she has... No. Oh my gosh. Is it the fact that the juice hadn't been... Really? That's what we're going with? This is a wine glass, is it not? Please look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. The scene is a mess because of the victim's struggle against his assailant. The vase was broken, his makeup is all over the floor. These were all things that were at one point sitting on top of the dresser. Well, yes, I see your point. However, this glass that is sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen over with everything else is this wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Oh, well, what do you all have to say? Oh, well, yes, it is a little peculiar. Yes, isn't it? I thought it was. You can stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours now. Mr. Edgeworth, what is it, Your Honor? Your opinion? You don't need my opinion, because there is no special meaning to that glass. What? It's safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place, by the person who discovered the body, Adrian Andrews, for example. She could have easily been so shocked she set the glass down without thinking. That does sound very plausible, Mr. Wright. No, it doesn't. Because it was... No, because the juice was in his room. If I appear weak here, the trial is over. Can't look for my proof later. For now, I should trust my instinct and point to certainly. They just might fall for it if you're thought-provoking enough. Well, I know it's not possible. The defense would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. We would like to see something that proves it was Miss Andrews who set the cup on the table. You've turned the situation on its head yet again, as usual. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any proof to back up your claim? There's no way he has any, he's just bluffing. Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have the evidence to support it. What? Well, if it's tomato juice, the tomato juice was only found in the victim's room. So that would have meant she was there longer than suggested. You're not thinking hard enough today, right? Did you think this wine glass escaped my notice? Then... Of course it has been thoroughly expected for fingerprints. Fingerprints? There were only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass. Only one? Well, whose were they? They were not the victims nor the defendants. Rather, they were one Adrian Andrews. What? The fact it's filled with tomato juice is very suspect still. That is why I said that the person who discovered the body had left it there. Are we done here, Mr. Wright? Can't believe I fell into another trap. Miss Andrews was probably holding the glass when she went to see Mr. Corda. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned and set the glass down on the dresser. What you just said makes a lot of sense, except the tomato juice part. Tis, tis, tis. Now do you see, right? You can't change any part of my scenario as it explains everything all too well. I've thought long and hard this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor, and from here on out I will show you the answer I've come to discover. But wait a second, Mr. Edgeworth. I think the prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution has yet another witness we would like the court to hear from. Another witness? Wendy Winberg. Yes. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness. What in the world is Mr. Edgeworth thinking? He's trying to completely destroy our case, I think. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. Witness, your name and occupation, please. Gotcha. I wonder what happened to that calm composure he had earlier. Oh, Edgy boy, it's been what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me. I saw the report with her testimony, but who knew that under that helmet was the wicked witch of the witness stand? I tell you, this time I know what I'm supposed to do. So today I'm going to tell you anything and everything, even things that don't have to do with that terrible crime. Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all this court needs to know. Oof, shush, I'm talking to my dear Edgy Wedgie right now. Don't interrupt us, Gramps. Yes, madam. No, please, by all means, interrupt her, please. Anyway, witness, your testimony, please. It's true what they say, you youth are hot-headed nowadays. Not that I mind at all, Edgy. Now then, what should I start with? The witness was on security detail at the hotel on the night of the murder. No, she wasn't. Is this correct, Miss Oldbag? It was a great job being able to see my dearie Juan. It's almost too much for my little heart to handle. You mean you were a fan of the victim? Look, everyone is crazy over that on-guard saying he's cute in a fresh way or something. But not me. I wouldn't say anything so silly. After all, I have no interest in a child like him. I'm only interested in a real man, Juan Corda. They were the same age. But those two were the same age. Anyway, as I was saying, I was pacing in front of his room that night. Very well, please tell the court what you witnessed the night of the murder. Leave it to me, Edgy Poo. Oh gosh. Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around the hallway in front of his room. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. That's when someone showed up. It was the man coming out of poor Juan's room. It was on guard, Matt on guard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room. In costume, no doubt, that he probably couldn't see where it was. So, Mr. Ongart came out from the victim's room. See, it has to be him. He's the murderer. That doesn't prove anything, girl. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Yeah, I'm like like he supposedly saw him, but yet you didn't go into the room. Likely story. Miss Oldbag, what was your post on that night? The lobby. I was supposed to help set up the stage for that trifling show. But I refused to help, I'll have you know. It was for that light-headed samurai show. Even took out a few of the nails. Maybe it was a good thing the show didn't go on. Besides, the manager with the glasses seemed to be working hard at it without me. So I thought I'd take a break and spread my wings a little. So you weren't where you were supposed to be. And that's when you went to hang around the victim's door. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Something you were interested in? And just was that? What was that? It's not some little thing I can just go around telling everyone, you know. It's top secret between me and Juan. And Edgy-Poo, of course. Mr. Edgeworth, what is this thing she was interested in? I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor. Gossip? But should it prove relevant, we can always have it appended to her testimony later. Looks like we shouldn't force it right now. And did the witness stay in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time? Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. You were doing the wrong job, still. Oh, and would you tell us the number of people who went in and out of Mr. Corda's room? I have no idea. I wasn't born so I could count things for those who didn't pay attention in class. That's why ever since I turned 20, I keeping track of how old I really am. Yes, well, that would explain why your age was not included in the report. In any case, the witness then saw someone, correct? That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. Who in the world was that? I'm not all out to say. This sort of information has to be carefully guarded from the masses, Sonny. The man that came out of Juan's room. He was. I'm too scared. I can't say his name out loud. Oh, what I wouldn't give to have Francisca's whip right about now. Well, I guess I can tell you since he was such a bad boy anyway. It was Matt Ongard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room. You saw my client? Are you sure about that? Yes, see. Really? Annoying brat. When I say I saw someone, I saw that person. Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should have delved in this a bit further. Please tell the court about the man's face in more detail. You don't need me to tell you about his face. That soft, gentle look in his eyes and effeminate lips. His right eye covered by his silky hair, sparkly, shiny teeth. His teeth were shining? Well, he's shining all around in this week's pinup poster, dearie. This week's pinup. Why do you, I don't care how he looks in this week's issue. Please stay with what you saw that night. What? Ungart's face is the same no matter where it is, you know, you whippersnapper. So, Mr. Wright, was this testimony just important? I guess it really wasn't important. She may not remember things. Yeah, I want to keep asking her the last thing over and over again. Just see if there's anything else I can ask her about. Well, I know there's other things I can ask her about. The person's clothes, how about that? Please tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail. What a troublesome man you are, really, as if something like that matters. But it does. Now what was it? Oh yes, it was that thing. What thing? The gaudy thing he's always wearing, that racing jacket. He was wearing that at the detention center too. That thing's meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Men. Right. So, Mr. Wright, was this testimony just now important or relevant in any way? I'm going to say yes because of where they supposedly found the button. I think it was important. Of course it was important, Your Honor. Then perhaps you would like to point out what part of that testimony was important. Don't you see it, Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request what the witness said about the jacket be appended to her testimony. I don't quite see where this is going, but alright. He was wearing his... Are you sure the defendant was wearing a racing jacket? What do you think? It's not like I've seen him in anything other than that horrible thing. I'm sure he was wearing it. Let's see. Okay, my thing is, the button. It was on guard. I'm going to... If he wasn't in his hakama, then I think that's what I need to do. Miss Oldbag. What? Don't say my name for no reason. Do you know what this is? It's a button number 2 on the Jammin' Ninja's costume. Now I know she's an obsessed friend. She identified it in a single glance. Give it here, give it here. If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this. Wow, she really is a die-hard fan to want a button covered in blood. This button was discovered on Mr. Ongart's body during a full-body search. See? See? This button proves beyond a shadow of a doubt it was that rascal Ongard. It was caught up in the plates of his nickel samurai Hakatan pants. See? See? And Ongard is the nickel samurai. Witness? Now, it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination, but just now, didn't you say that the defendant, Matt Ongard, was wearing his usual racing jacket? Ah, I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear. If I wore the trendiest dress, instead I have to put up with wearing this ridiculous looking outfit, you agree this outfit is hideous, right? Got the tape recorder stuck, it's heavy, so heavy. Wish they stuck to the CDs. I work hard for a smile on my face. You understand? Now take a look at the mirror. Your clothes are about as interesting as a documentary on curling. She did not get the point. Now hold your tongue still there for one second. So what you saw in actuality was not Mr. Ongard the man, but Mr. Ongard the nickel samurai. But when you think about it, no. They're really one and the same anyway. Miss Oldbag, this is a very important point we're talking about. Edgy Pooh, do you think so too? Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say it's important and agree with me for a change. Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify. Alright, if you insist. It should be the one sighing, not you. Agreed. On guard, on guard. Yes, now I remember. The nickel samurai, that's right. It was the nickel samurai that I saw. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. He had to go to that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime, you know. So he must have worn that nickel samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Fwan. I knew it. I knew you'd say he was inside that costume. What? Did you think there could have been someone else inside that costume? Don't be a bad little boy, thinking such rude things. But the possibility does exist. Young'uns today, I told you there's no way it was anyone else. How do you know that? Because I said so, and what I say is the truth. At least she's just as delightful a witness as she was a year ago. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. The problem with her testimony is exactly the same problem as it was last time. Would you please get on with your testimony? Watch your language, young man. What sort of tone is that to take with an elder? My youthfulness isn't what it used to be, so forgive me. If you keep on barking at me like that, I'll start singing at the top of my lungs. What? A striking figure by the sea, standing alone, is he. He's the nickel samurai. She's actually singing. Someone help my poor ears. Mr. Edgeworth, can you please do something about this racket? Witness, I'll give you a piece of gum later if we'll be good and just stick to the facts. Okay, you promise, right? Right. I'll be sending the bill for the chewing gum to your office at a later date. Want me to send you a thank you note later too, Edgeworth, old chum. The nickel samurai, that's it. It was that I saw. Be a little more careful with your testimony, please. Not too long ago you said he was wearing his racing jacket, and now he's not? Not too long ago. Then let me ask you this. When you were itty-bitty, what was your grand dream? Huh? What did you want to be when you grew up, whippersnapper? My dream, huh? Well, I, wanted to be a Judge Wagner, hero of the public's court. So what? See? And look where you are now. You're not Judge Wagner, are you? Are you? Well, what I said earlier, who puts any weight into things like that? And now, the now is everything. It can't be held responsible for the past. Since when did court become theatrics over testimonies? All that matters, the man was inside that costume. Isn't that enough? You haven't proved it was him. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume to the murder. And why would that be? That way, no one could see his face, of course. But there's still no advantage for him that I can see. In fact, you would think the costume would make him stand out all the more. You are such an annoying child, you know that? You disagree with everything I say. Isn't that what you're always doing to me? I got it. Maybe it was more troublesome for him to change in and out of his costume. He had to get to that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime, you know. Was there anyone else scheduled to appear at the post-ceremony show? Well, all the contestants were supposed to go on stage in a friendly gesture thing, and that included the Jammin' Ninja. Of course it included him. That's why the on guard came out of dear Juan's room. I didn't give it a second thought. I see. Well, anyway. So he must have worn that nickel samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan. So let me ask you one last time. The person you saw, it really was the nickel samurai. As showy as ever. Haven't I been saying that from the very beginning? Can I throw in the towel yet? Don't need to think too hard on this one, huh? There's a contradiction in her testimony and sitting on plain sight. The question is what that contradiction means for us. I also don't know what a hot tama is. He was strangled and then the nickel samurai, that's right. He had to give up the post-ceremony stage show. So he must have worn the nickel samurai when he was stabbing. I have an idea, but I'm not so sure if it's going to work. Because he didn't know about... Nope. Bye-bye. Okay, yeah. Yes, go on stage. Would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. Am I supposed to do so? You saw this, I suppose? No. Am I supposed to show the picture of On Guard? So you must warn that Nicholas Samurai. I have a couple of ideas, but I'm not too sure. Can I be like, so you saw him? I don't think that's right. Nope. Okay, that's fine. I'm just trying to think things out. Is it the fact that he wasn't... So I must have worn it. Is it... no. She says I don't have to think too hard about it. Is it the fact that that wasn't how he died? No. No. Like, I think it's like she has to prove that, like I have to prove that she didn't see him, I suppose. Nope. What in the world? Mia, I don't believe you when you said it's quite obvious. Mirrors the victim's blood. It's found in... Don't see anything wrong here right now. Water on the lid. Where did the water come from? Is it the fact? Right, that's right. I'm actually not too sure. So, I'm actually going to look this up. Like, I'm not even going to pause it. We're just gonna go straight there. Let's see. Go past gumshoe. Okay, so according to this tutorial, oops, not tutorial, more like walkthrough. I'm supposed to show the knife. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Crap. So apparently it says to show the knife. I don't see how that makes sense. Please take a look at this. Yeah, so it's a knife. Big deal. If you're trying to scare me with that, I'll have you know it won't work. No, that's not my intention at all. That's the knife that was used in the murder, correct? Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to this case? You don't even have to ask. It's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it. Is that what you're driving at? That is exactly what I'm driving at. What are we driving at, and whose car are we driving? Mr. Ungert was really in the nickel samurai costume at the time of the murder. Then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on this knife. Actually, he would have wiped all previous fingerprints on his knife right off. Oh, that's right, the nickel samurai wears gloves, doesn't he? He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. And why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? There's no way he would do something like that. However, there is one possibility. And let's hear your possibility. It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as the nickel samurai. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. He's probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off. But the murder still did take place. It's well known that there was bad blood between the defendant and the victim. Yes, I have heard of that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edgeworth's theory? So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up to this point, why would he be going to the room? Let's see. I think when the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intent on killing him. I don't know. I mean, I know he was framed. It's just a matter of I don't know. I think so. This theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony. What are you blabbing about? Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. Ungard was the killer. If that's the case, I think it's possible for the killer have gone to the victim's room without intent. Yeah. Is it the knife again? Why would he bring a knife if there was no intent? The knife. This was used by Mr. Ungard at dinner. Yes, we did establish that. Which means that if my client was, in fact, the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Corda. I suppose. However, you just said it yourself. At that time, the defendant held no intention to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from supposition 1. And one more thing, if the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprint shouldn't have been over it like bees on a hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us. Like if they were strangled, there's no point in stabbing. Order, I say. Order in the court. Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing? To frame. It's to frame my client, Mr. OnGuard, of course. To frame. Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? But we just established that the witness saw the nickel samurai in costume. And if that were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife. Witness? Looks like I've made your life a tiny bit more difficult, huh, Edgy Poo? Witness, did you or did you not really see the nickel samurai? Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but... Are you saying you mixed up Mr. OnGuard with the nickel samurai, his character on TV? But I mean, I can't really do anything about that now. Look, I was waiting around in front of their doors because, well, I wasn't waiting around for the nickel samurai, that's for sure. She wasn't waiting for the nickel samurai? Alright then, who were you waiting around for then? That's top secret to anyone outside of security. I have a feeling that you were waiting for Mr. Juan Cordia. Am I correct, witness? Ha ha ha. The way you think. You are a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness. Amateur? Me? What am I an amateur of? So Olbach was waiting around in front of the victim's room. But it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Corda. Maybe Phoenix. Maybe the Olbach was waiting around for that person? If it's who I think Mia's hinting at, it's certainly possible. Miss Oldbag. You were waiting for this person to come out of the victim's room, weren't you? Well, we think the murderer is... Adrian. And she had like I guess she didn't want to believe the clip because of the news story she had stolen from Lada, so I'm going to go with this, I suppose. Who is this person? This is Adrian Andrews, Mr. OnGuard's manager. But why would the defendant's manager be in the victim's room? It seems like this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor. Oh, this is... Ha, I see. The judge seems to be really into the article, if it can be called such a thing. And this manager with initials AA, are you saying it's Adrian Andrews? Without a doubt, the witness thought so as well. Looks like he found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away this whole sworn to confidentially stuff then. Witness? What in the world are you? Watch out, Phoenix. I've got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. I got some information, some very secret information from a certain source. So that's why I'm doing my own little investigation. In secret, of course. Let me guess, your source is Lotta's camera. But what for? Oh, just for myself. Personal reasons and all that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how will you proceed from here? I really don't want to do this. However, I simply cannot let this point slide. I see. Very well then. Witness, please testify about this secret information. Get ready. This is going to take the wind out of you youngins. I'm sure we're all capable of handling this. Really, it's not like we're 10 years old. Interesting. That Angard is one evil, evil man. He thought he could ruin Port Juan by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan. Cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, and this is top secret. You got that? No one else but you and me know yet, okay? The defendant said his manager. What a distasteful topic for this court. What? Nobody's above gossip. And isn't there a saying, the truth is never pleasant? Never heard that one before. Mr. Edgeworth, what about this Adrian Andrews person? We have looked into this matter and found that the truth the article proposes is, in fact, baseless gossip. But should this be true, then this proves that the defendant did bear ill will toward the victim. So this means I have to smash this rumor once and for all. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Be careful, the old bag seems rather excited right now. That's right, Angard was nothing but an average foul-blooded youth. Well, as the old saying goes, gotta burn old bags with fire. Time to fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone. Was that supposed to be a reference? That wasn't funny at all. I have a feeling that what it's going to come up as is going to be the suicide. This one evil man. You can't say something like that without proof. That's just slander. But it's true. That woman was getting intimate with poor Juan. Look, it says so right here, doesn't it? Manager to the stars, Miss A.A. But the name of the magazine this came from is Gossip Land. What? Are you saying that gossip is just all a pack of lies? What do you know? I suppose next you'll swear to me that the news is 100% truth. Honestly, Sonny, you can't discriminate between the news and gossip. Yes, discrimination is bad, Mr. Wright. Discriminate? When did I do anything like that? Anyway, Angard will never get me to say touche. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal. A scandal? What do you mean by that? You're a dim-witted one, aren't you? Can't believe you don't know what a scandal is. Honestly, what are they teaching kids in middle school these days? No, I wasn't asking what the word scandal means. Even I know that much. Well, that Angard thought he could own a monopoly on popularity. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan. You don't have any proof that Mr. Angard did any such thing. You must be suffering from shock, the shock of hearing the truth. And now, since you're in so much shock, you can't do anything right. You're right, I can't do anything, but boy did I wish I could do something about you. Alright then, Sonny, show me what you got. Can you show me proof that Angard didn't bear any ill will towards Juan? I don't think I can. I don't have anything to offer. See, just as I thought. You were lecturing me about saying things without proof. Just giving me a free pass to say whatever I want whenever I want, silly boy. Me and my big mouth. That's the way the cookie crumbles, for you anyway. Cannot condone such dirty tricks. Wait, did I have proof? No, I don't think I had proof. I did not mean to do that. Crap. Please tell me that was right, because I meant to escape, not do whatever it was that I did. Cannot condone such dirty tricks. So what do you mean by I took action? Like I already told you, I was lying in wait close to the crime scene. Once that slimy woman came out of Juan's room, I was going to capture her and teach her a good lesson, something you youngins need. You were going to teach her a good lesson. I was going to make her eat the damaging beams of my ray gun. Like this. Now stop. Well, it was too bad that woman didn't come through the door that night. Oh, and this top secret thing? No one else knows. Wait. What? I'm a busy woman. Tea time with the kids is over. Secret information that no one else knows yet? If that's true, then how do you know this secret information? Huh? Well, that's because I'm a pro. Yes, that's it. It's a secret. Even you drilled a hole into my brain, you'll never find out. How in the world did that old bag get such a secret piece of information? I think it's Lotta's camera. So no one else is supposed to know this secret information, correct? If that's true, then why do you know it, Miss Oldbag? But why are you looking at me like that? Stop that. Witness? I hate to say it, but this is how you came to acquire your secret information, isn't it? The investigative photographer, Lotta Hart. Oh yes, I remember that mischievous girl. She reported that she had lost a certain note she had written to herself. She reported such a thing? On that piece of paper, she had written down some of her impressions about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews. But what? Outrageous ideas, you say? No, I said impressions. Then everything written on this piece of paper is completely meaningless? Ah, that's it. That's the note. Ah. No, you see, this is something completely different. This is my top secret list of groceries to buy. Yeah, sure. Then you're the one who took Miss Hart's note. I'm a huge fan of Juan's, that's why. That infamous puffy-haired whippersnapper. She's working with that evil on-guard. She said so herself. On-guard. I'm his sidekick. She was so happy, smiling like a silly duck. I was only checking what she had written. Edgy Poo, you believe me, don't you? No. I was only trying to help out like the angel I am. It's only one little piece of paper. I've never taken anything else before. You really should come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine. Well, it was only a piece of paper. I suppose we can overlook this just this once. She looks like she's really sorry. Should I forgive her? I don't like her. If I let up on her now, she'll get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow to the prosecution. Witness, you said that the only thing you stole was that note. Is that correct? Stole? Why don't you listen more carefully, you annoying brat? I saved this piece of paper from that terrible, lonely trash can, that's all. You're lying, darn it, and I can prove it. Are you putting my credibility under scrutiny again? Miss Oldbag, I don't believe that the note was the only thing you stole that night. She stole the camera. Miss Oldbag, the note was with the camera inside its case, wasn't it? A camera? Yesterday, Lotta Hart was raising a huge stink over her camera. She kept saying something like my sweet $1,600 camera disappeared on me. Why, witness. What is it, Gramps? If you have the note, then it's only logical that you have the camera, too. Looks like you found me out again, Sonny. Is this the camera you're looking for? That's... What? Even though I look like this, I'm still a person, you know. I still eat meals like you. I fall in love and borrow things from people. I think your definition of borrow is a little off. I saw that woman's business card, and that's when I noticed it said, Sign back celebrity photographer extraordinaire. Well, when I saw that, I had to know what sort of pictures she had taken. I'm a professional security guard. It's my business to know these things. Sure. Bailiff, check this camera's photos. Hurry. We must examine them at once. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do we have? There is only one photo that seems relevant to this case. Please present it to the court. Yeah, all this proves is that it could have been anyone. This is the Nickel Samurai. See, I told you that's the guy I saw. This proves that the witness was not lying earlier about this matter. What does all this mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photo by itself does not prove that the person in it is the defendant. However, in his own confession, Mr. Angard clearly stated that at the time of the murder, he was still in his Nickel Samurai costume. If that is the case, then this Nickel Samurai is... unless there's a different copy. The defendant. How did it come to this? I think this brings us to the end. We have examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Final comments, Mr. Wright? The court will consider them before we close. Do you agree that this photo is decisive evidence against your client? No. This photo is really decisive, then we're done for. If I raise an objection here and blow it, then I would put Maya's life in jeopardy. Can't make a mistake here. This photo that Lotta took, there has to be something strange with it. That's the only thing that would make sense. Like, where it was taken? Like, wouldn't it have been taken from Angard's room then? That's really weird. There's something strange with this photo. I knew this was coming, right? Your thoughts, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we can all agree there's nothing strange with this photo. There's no way for the defense to debunk this photo, even with a debunker buster. Debunk with a bunker buster? Is that what you think you're planning to do, Mr. Wright? Anyway, please look at the photo one more time. If you really believe you can honestly find something wrong with this photo, then you should only need one chance, correct? Well, I have to find something wrong with this photo. Can't let this chance go by. Where in the world did she take this photo from anyways? It's all out of focus. Why can't she take a good shot, especially when it counts? Now then, let's hear your objection. What about this photo is strange? Is it the fact that it's not being worn correctly? That's what I'm thinking, the way it's being worn. This person here, of course. You mean the Nickel Samurai? And what is wrong with that? At the time of the murder, Mr. Angard was in his own room, which means his Nickel Samurai is a If you think that's all it takes, you should reconsider your choice in occupation. I think it's about time you retired. Looks like there was no problem. Is it like the curvature of the floor? What's this? The strange thing is somewhere around here, I think. Somewhere around here, I think. Am I seeing something you all are not? It looks like there was no problem with this photo. Problems with the brain of that lawyer. Wait, you were the one who let your last chance fly away. Wait, what? Oh my gosh. Am I just supposed to say there's nothing wrong with the photo? There's nothing strange with this photo. I have done nothing to alter this photo either, in case you're wondering, right? I see. Is this really alright with you, Phoenix? Well, there's nothing wrong with this photo that I can try again, take another good look at it. If you still don't see anything, do something, anything to prolong the trial. Yes, Chief. Wait, Your Honor. What is it, Mr. Wright? I'm about to enter my verdict. Please address me with your comment afterwards. No, I'm sorry, but this can't wait. Oh, let me guess, you're going to point out some particularity with this photo. What? Why didn't you say so earlier? There's something strange with this photo. I knew this was coming, right? Your thoughts, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we can all agree there's nothing strange. Okay, also let me save it closer. Let's hear your objection. What is strange about the photo? Is it like the... No, I don't... Is it like the angle? Like, how can I say it's the angle of what it's coming from? I don't... The stream... No. Yeah, I'm going to look at... Okay. The problem is probably based on this. And it's... Yeah, it's the fact you can't see his feet. Okay, yeah. I was not going to... get it. I can only look at the feet. And if I point anywhere else, it's over. So yeah. The problem is that the person's short, apparently. I would like to direct the court's attention to this one area right here. What are you pointing to? His ankles? If you could see this person's ankles, that would be one thing. However, you can't. And what does that mean? The costume person in this photo could not have been Mr. On Guard. What is the meaning of this? I wonder if you would care to elaborate with actual facts, that is. Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. Please pay particular attention to the area around the bottom of the hakatama. I pronounced that all kinds of wrong. His socks. You can see his socks. Exactly. However, in this photo, the Nickel Samurai is clearly holding his Hakakama, just to walk. So I was right with it was how the costume looked. It was just not the right part of the costume that I was pointing out, apparently. There's only one explanation for this. The person inside this costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant. Alright, I think I've turned things around for myself this time. That's curious. Huh? What is it? Edgeworth is unusually calm today. That's true. He's just letting the trial run itself, as if he's only along for the ride. Along for the ride. What do you mean by that? I can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all. Doesn't feel under attack, then haven't damaged his case at all. Mr. Edgeworth, where does this leave us? If the person in this photo is not Matt on guard, then everything the prosecution has tried to prove has become meaningless. Well, he also didn't seem like he was taking this case personally, against him in the previous investigation days. I figured it would come to this. What? Right, I have something I want to ask you. You think you have proven that the person inside this costume is not Matt on guard. In that case, who is this a photo of? I guess we have to assume the person that we thought. Yeah, why is he so calm? The tapping of his hand doesn't seem too calm. It has to be our one suspect. Adrian Andrews? If you want to know who that nickel samurai is none other than this woman. And why would you say it must be Miss Andrews? What in the world points you to her? For starters, she's short, and she can freely move in and out of Mr. Onguard's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. Onguard that night. How does that all add up? It means that it makes it very easier for her to get a certain item. A certain knife with Mr. Onguard's fingerprints all over it. The knife that was used as a murder weapon. Why don't you just say what it is you want, right? I have to do this now. This is my last chance to turn things around. The defense moves to indict Miss Adrian Andrews in the murder of Juan Cordia. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame the defendant for the crime. Order, order, order. It looks like this trial has hit a most unexpected development. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor? This court is issuing a subpoena for Miss Adrian Andrews. The verdict cannot be passed without first hearing her testimony. Alright, this is it. This, kind of bad for us. Huh? What do you mean? Adrian Andrews is summoned to court as a witness. It means that the trial will go on for another day. One more day. If I don't get a verdict today, then Maya... Now then, we shall set Miss Andrews' testimony for tomorrow. What am I supposed to do? The judge is about to adjourn the trial. Raise an objection, try to get it today. Now then. Please, Your Honor, continue the trial. You must pass a verdict today. I can't do that. We cannot hear Miss Andrews' testimony if she is not. I abhor wasting such valuable time. Is she already here? Please say yes. Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial, but we cannot continue due to this unexpected development. Tisk, tisk. Unexpected development. I think you've underestimated me, Your Honor. And what do you mean by that? That Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to subpoenaing Mr. Adrian Andrews is all happening according to plan, even if Wright was a bit slow to catch on. I feel like he is helping me in a way, but at the same time, not really. What? At the very beginning, I was like, there has to be some way to bring Adrian into this mess, but it felt like we were just doing a whole convoluted way of doing it all. Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution's lobby. She's the next witness. Everything was planned out in advance by that man. Somehow I knew there was no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. He was the one who gave us the information on her. Looks like the battle is far from over. Exactly. Very well. We will call the next witness. However, before we proceed, we shall take a 10-minute recess. Please prepare your witness in that time, Mr. Edgeworth. The court will now take a 10-minute recess. Okay. So with how this case is shaping up, I don't think we necessarily need to prove it wasn't on guard, but just like have enough reasonable doubt in saying that it wasn't him. That sounds like the most obvious thing that's going on right now, but I'm not too sure. Because even though all the evidence is pointing to Andrews, I'm not too sure about it being her. I don't think all the facts line up. But we'll see what she says in her testimony next time. And I'll see you guys later. Bye!